As consumers, whether you believe in Ayurveda or allopathy or are in somewhere in between, irrespective of that, it is hugely important to follow what's been happening in the courts, particularly vis-a-vis Patanjali Ayurved. And what gradually seems to be unfolding, at least with how the court is responding, shoddy implementation of rules on the ground, with the court pointing towards the lapses. The Supreme Court yet again on Tuesday came down heavily on Yoga Guru Ramdev's Patanjali Ayurved and its managing director Acharya Balakrishna for violating the court's order against misleading advertisements of its products. And mark my words, I say yet again, because the Supreme Court has been hearing the case for more than a year now. From restraining Patanjali orally, from putting out misleading advertisements according to the media reports, the court also received an anonymous complaint of Patanjali against Patanjali. This was in January. And the anonymous complaint gave proof of Patanjali continuing to claim that its products are quote-unquote more effective than chemical-based synthetic medicines of allopathy, leading to the latest backlash by the topmost court of India. And in fact, Patanjali has been restrained from advertising its medicinal products for now. This also yet again. And it also had very strong observations against the central government. The court, in fact, tore into the government, saying the entire country has been taken on for a ride. You shut your eyes. 2 years you wait for this important thing. When Drug Act itself says it is prohibited, mark the words of the topmost court of this country. What is this case about? The bench of Justices Hima Kohli and Asanuddin Amanullah was hearing a petition filed by the IMA in 2022 that sought for action and campaigns to promote the Ayush system by criticizing, disparaging the allopathic system. Remember, in 2023, Patanjali had given in written assurances to the court of not making any casual statements claiming medical efficacy or against any system of medicine to be released to the media. This was a written assurance given by Patanjali. A day after that, they actually went and did a press conference. They held a media briefing and they told the media in public that they will not be doing something like this. But this has now been challenged before the court. The IMA has contended that despite the Ministry of Ayush signing a memorandum of understanding with a board that looks into advertisements, particularly from the medical realm, for monitoring misleading advertisements, Ramdev continues to flout norms. The IMA has taken on Patanjali, alleging continuous, systemic misinformation. Speaks of instances where Ramdev has shunned allopathy as stupid. And I'm quoting this. I'm quoting what IMA has claimed. The IMA has claimed that the advertisements are a direct violation of Drugs and Other Magical Remedies Act 1954, or also referred to as DOMA. Now, what is this Drugs and Magic Remedies Act 1954? I will not be surprised if many of our viewers are possibly listening to this for the first time, but this is hugely important for us to understand. We need to try and understand who is responsible for protecting us against false claims and advertisements made by whichever section of medicine. In this particular case, it is Patanjali. Tomorrow it could be anybody else. What do we do? Who do we go to? Now, this act is an act of the Parliament of India which controls the advertising of drugs in India. It prohibits advertisements of drugs and remedies that claim to have quote-unquote magical properties and makes doing so a cognizable offense. There are strong punishments in this act which is mentioned out. It is also alleged that these Patanjali advertisements violates the Consumer Protection Act in 2019. Now, there are clauses even within this with strong repercussions. These are punishable offences against these acts, at least in paper. And that's what the court says. All of this seems to violate what's on paper. And that's why the strong rap not only against Patanjali in this case, but also the central government. I'm being joined right now by Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, chairperson for Nephron, Acharya Vikramaditya, founder, Vivekananda Nature Cure Hospital, as well as Professor Sriram Khanna, managing editor, Consumer Voice magazine. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining us. To you first, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. These are issues that matter so much to consumers because every other day, this is a huge industry, firstly. Every other day, every other citizen is buying some form of medicine or the other. They're looking at alternates which are available in the market. And there are so many who are busy either for the lack of time or for the lack of access to go to a doctor of whichever choice they have. And they will look at possibly advertisements or a quack somewhere around them who would be selling something to them. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, IMA has raised some very strong allegations, and the court for now has come down very heavily. What would be the three big things that you would want our viewers to know at this point? How do you discern between what is a claim and what is a fake? I mean, it's absolutely shocking to see what IMA is saying in court.
Good evening, everyone. What is important is to distinguish and differentiate between the yoga aspect of the entire Patanjali controversy and the medical part and the drugs which they are promoting. So I have no problem at all. Let Mr. Ramdev continue with his yoga. I don't call him Swami and I don't call him Guru and Baba. I mean, these are words which I use very loosely. He's Mr. Ramdev. If he continues with his yoga, no problem at all. Now, any promotion, either in print, electronic, social media, banners, live television, interviews, which is perhaps fraudulent, deceptive, misinformation is highly dangerous for a common person and at a country at large. Both things are important, wrong intent and wrong content of the promotion. Claiming that you have 100% cure. In fact, after this full controversy was out in public knowledge, I went through the interviews of Mr. Ramdev. He has proclaimed 100% cure for diabetes, for hypertension, for even dengue, for cancers, and indeed for COVID during that period of the pandemic for 2.5, 3 years. I think that is wrong. What I also have a second objection with regards to Mr. Ramdev is he can practice whichever line of medicine he wants, but let him not criticize any other line of science. We follow allopathy. We are not criticizing any other line. And third, most importantly, is that whatever drug comes into the market, it must follow evidence-based medicine. Till date, I have not come across one research paper in an international peer-reviewed journal as a randomized controlled trial which validates what Mr. Ramdev is saying. So I have serious objections to these misleading ads. This is dangerous. It violates the code of conduct of the drugs being promoted on televisions and print media. That is not fair. And I think this must come to a stop. And I congratulate the Supreme Court for stepping in.
You know, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, the part of the problem is that this is coming to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court has to stop this. Now, how many such cases would reach the Supreme Court? And I want to come to this, to you, to try and understand this better as well. But Acharya Vikramaditya, and you also support the chain of medicines and claims that Patanjali Ayurved has come out with. My question to you really is, how do you explain what the court is questioning? There were assurances given out by, and I have to tell this to our audience, we reached out to Patanjali Ayurved, to Patanjali Ayurved, to try and get their response. Not only their response, they have said that they will stand by with whatever the court has said, they will follow whatever the court has said, but we also sought detailed response from them, a guest from them, somebody would want to represent. They did not come officially to us. But Acharya Vikramaditya, is this a serious lapse? All right, we seem to have some problem with Mr. Acharya's line, and we'll try to get him back with us. But Professor Sriram Khanna, as somebody who represents consumers, where is the safeguard? I mean, tomorrow, if I have to go and look for medicines alternates, who's guarding me? Who's protecting me? Who's protecting the viewers?
See, actually, the job of protecting the citizen is with the government bodies and the laws that have been framed by Parliament. And in this particular case, the laws which are relevant are the ones which are mentioned by Mr. Bagai, that is, and you also mentioned about the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act. There is also the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, and then there is the Food Standards and Safety Act. These three laws have been made by Parliament, and they have rules and regulations to ensure that only proper claims are made in the public while selling and promoting the sales of drugs, whether they are drugs or over-the-counter medicines or there are nutritional supplements or food. No claim can be made of, being a remedy for some disease or some illness without proper proof and scientific evidence thereof. I agree with Mr. Bagai to say that allopathy is based on scientific evidence-based proof. Unless there has been a randomized trial of the medicine on human subjects and it is found to be efficacious in removing the illness or the particular disease, you cannot claim that it will do it. And our Food Safety and Standards Act and our Consumer Protection Act also have these clauses vis-a-vis misleading advertisement. The responsibility of proving that what is claimed in the ad is correct and truthful is on the advertiser. He has to give proof. So I would actually call upon the advertiser, in this case Ramdev Enterprises, Ayurved, to give the proof. If you are saying that a particular Ayurveda drug will cure a particular illness, then you should give proof. Where is that evidence?
No, but the problem
that evidence
really
is not forthcoming.
The problem is if the advertisements are already out. So the point is, if these advertisements are already out and after a year on you go and ask for the proof, that's a totally different story. But when the advertisements are going out, who's scanning them, particularly in the medical realm? Isn't there supposed to be a protocol on that? I'll get back to you, but I'm also being joined again by Acharya Vikramaditya.
See,
Acharya
it's like saying, it's like, madam, it is like saying...
I'll get back to you, sir. I'll get back to you. Let me just get in the introductory statements of Acharya Vikramaditya. Let me just get him in, sir. Acharya Vikramaditya, to what the court has said, and it's very, very scathing questions. They're saying, why is this being done? They've called it out very strongly, even questioned the center. How do you look at what has happened? Do you see this as a big lapse?
No, we have to understand the basic things, what is happening in India. Indian and overall way we have to understand this thing. Some people are, basically we have to understand this thing, they are totally against the Ayurveda, totally against the Baba Ramdev, and they have that kind of mentality. Even the people who are sitting in this panel also, they are using the word, they have a different kind of problem basically. They don't want to say the Baba. They have an intention of using Mr. word before the concerned person, but instead of using Baba, Swami and Yogi,
Acharya
they have a problem. Basically, this is a mental barrier. Basically, we have to understand this.
I am on this panel. I am sticking to what the court has said, to the advertisements. I do not want to get in any other aspect of Baba Ramdev into this discussion. That is not going to happen. I'm not good. We are very strictly speaking about what the court has said, of how there was assurances by Patanjali Ayurveda. I don't even mind taking the word out Baba Ramdev right now. It's not the point. Patanjali Ayurved gave assurances. Court has said you have violated those assurances. The court has wrapped the government over this. Is this a concern for you as well? I'm not bothered about anything else at this point.
This is a concern for everybody. Nobody can make any kind of claims, but the claim should be on a research basis. And the Baba Ramdev and the company of the Baba Ramdev is saying something that because they have that kind of data available as they are saying this thing. And the books which are of the Ayurveda have that kind of evidence. Basically, some person just before me, he was saying this: you don't have any data, any research. Ayurveda is totally based on the research. Nobody is basically the government. Some people in India don't have that kind of mentality that they are interested in seeing that results also. Just see at the time of Corona, so many worldwide people are using the Ayurvedic products and they have been benefited. They have.
Why is the court not? Why is this not being told to the court? Why is this? Why is the court not taking this up? Why is the court not saying? They have issued why it should not be a contempt notice.
The court has they will provide the proof as per the press conference which they are doing. They are providing the things. The things will be provided, and they say they have a big lab and they have done the research work. Let the court case decide first, then we can say this thing. आयुर्वेद के अंदर डाटा है अवेलेबल और पूरी जो किताबें हैं उसमें कहा जाता है
डॉक्टर
संजीव जो भी बीमारी है उसका इलाज दिया जाता है उसका
डॉक्टर संजीव बगाई
है उसके ऊपर रिसर्च हो रही है.
No, sir, I don't think you're responding to the question at all. My concerns really being about what the court has said. This is not something which has been brought before the court. I don't think this argument stands at all. But anyway, you have put your point forward. I will allow you to speak that. Coming back to you, Dr. Bagai, how do you really trickle this down to the consumers when they are looking at what they are looking? What should they really look at? It's a huge concern.
So I think we got to go beyond the threat, the theater part and the semantics of it. Mr. Ramdev is not a doctor. He is a businessman who's running a business enterprise. And for him to make these claims as a 100% cure, I have serious concerns. Point number two, I am not looking down on any other line of science. Science exists in Ayurveda, in homeopathic and in traditional medicine. Whoever wishes to follow those lines of medicine, it's a free country, it's a free world. My concern is the Ayurveda part of the Patanjali enterprise should not be criticizing and demeaning other lines of medicine vis-a-vis which we follow. And last, most importantly, is if you're making claims which are high, mighty, lofty, as a 100% cure for dengue, 100% cure for COVID, 100% cure for arthritis and so on, not being backed by data, then it poses serious concern for the public at large and customer. My end point is that we have to follow evidence-based medicine. Let us not confuse yoga with Ayurveda. They are two separate issues altogether. We respect Mr. Ramdev for publicizing and promoting yoga. Congratulations to him for that. But as far as the Ayurveda science is concerned, let them not proclaim which is not 100% validated, verified, authenticated in randomized controlled trials for public at large to use these medicines. Lastly, as far as we are doctors, we cannot promote a particular drug. Likewise, an industry can't promote it in this manner to say it's 100% foolproof cure. That's misleading. I would say it's mischievous and extremely dangerous.
All right. To you, Professor Sriram Khanna, if you could just, in 2 minutes, try and explain to our viewers. You mentioned about laws. The problem is those laws seem to have not existed when these claims, false claims as it has been proved in the court now. I'm not saying it. The court has said it. I won't say it because I don't have expertise in saying it, even if I wanted to. So I waited for the court to say it. The court is saying, but no laws were there to protect anyone till the court said, and even after that, it continued. So is this a country of blind people turning to money or to vested interests or to whatever? Is that what consumers are really left to? I mean, these are genuine questions that people want to ask and want to find the answers to. There are laws, there are bodies. So what?
See, I have to say, there have been laws, there are laws, there were laws, and the laws continue to be there. What really matters is, does that officer who was employed to implement that law, in this case, the drug controller's office, the regional drug controllers, the drug controllers in the state governments, the food safety officers in the states and the center, and other officials, even the police officers who implement the Indian Penal Code, they have powers to take action. Why they don't take action? Because they feel that the company which is at the going to get the face the brunt is close to the people in power. Who cannot relate the ruling party with Ramdev? They are friends. Everybody knows that. Every government official knows that. So which government official has the balls or the backbone to file a challan against Baba Ramdev? And they don't have it because they are scared that they will get punishment postings. So in the last 2 years or some time, even after these ads have been in the public domain, no official has chosen to take an action. And after that, the fight has started between IMA and Baba Ramdev. And IMA is not concerned about Ayurveda. IMA is more concerned about why did you call allopathy names. So they have taken umbrage against Baba Ramdev's remarks against allopathy. And to put him in his place, they have used
I'm being told to wrap up. I'm being told we're totally out of time, sir.
So it's not Baba Ramdev.
Right. I think it's also important to understand the challenge really is across the spectrum. In this case, it's Patanjali Ayurved, that's at the center of it all because that's the court order, that's what the court is hearing. But there's a larger issue here as well. Who is protecting the consumer, you and me, if at all there are false claims from any part? The IMA or any other wing of medicine, whatever science they claim themselves to be, who protects us? As of now, unless the court had intervened, I don't think this would have come to light the way it has. And that shows the sorry state of our country at this point. The next hearing will be in March and will be closely watched. Time for a short break. Thank you so much, my panelists, for joining us. We're totally out of time. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining us.